You are a vicious bastard. Retaliate. I'm glad you're dead. I'm glad you're dead.
Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
You are listening to episode 7 of the Batman on Film, chapter by chapter, Batman 89 podcast. My name is Justin Kowalski, and I am here in Gotham City. Today, my sidekick, my guy in the little pixie boots is none other than the curator of Batman's own library in Wayne Manor, right down the hall, across from the Armory. It is Mr. Ryan Lauer from the Batman Book Club. Ryan, how you doing?
Hello, Justin. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. And actually, I would love to be in the 89 manor. And if my library could be in that manor, oh, chef's kiss.
You would be in rooms that
library
you've never been in before. You'd be like, oh,
exactly.
I don't know if I've been in this
passing
library
salt
before.
in every room too.
You got past the salt all over that place. Every room I'd go in, I'm passing the salt.
Dream come true.
Alfred's like, sir, would you please stop passing the salt? Can't help it.
Couldn't find my
Alfred.
socks without him.
Couldn't find my socks without him. Anyway, so we are continuing our journey through, I like to say, probably the greatest Batman film ever created by human hands. As my opinion is today. And I can I tell you something? Every time I rewatch a scene like for the show, I end up just watching the movie and or falling asleep. Or I'm just kind of because I'm trying to download it all in my brain and see if I can pick up anything different. And I keep just rewatching it and just laughing. But I keep getting closer and closer to the end, obviously. So now I only started it up at 40 something minutes in, and I just watched it. And I ended up getting all the way to Vicky and Bruce meeting in the Batcave last night. I was like, okay, I got to go to bed.
Oh goodness. Well, I think it's one of the most rewatchable Batman movies for sure.
Yeah,
I think
really
I've said like on podcasts, probably with you and the other Bat Boys and stuff too, that this movie definitely is the movie I've seen the most in my life. Yeah. I watch this one the most out of any of them throughout the year. Like I rewatch all the Batman movies every year. This movie, yeah, the chapter by chapter stuff's hard because I just watched this snippet today, but then it was like, oh man, I just out of context. I don't know what's happened to get us to this point. Where's it going? I better start all over again. Thing. Yeah, exactly. I'm so lost, but
I love Batman 89. I think it's for me, it's the most collectible of the films. Like just from where I was when I watched it, and just that whole era, like Batman 89. And we probably talk about it every time we do the show, but I think it's worth mentioning. Batmania was rampant. Like there's never been anything like the summer of 89. I feel like ever again with pop culture. Like it just was no matter where you went, man, there was bat symbols, shaved in heads, Batman towels, ice creams, stores just completely decked out. Even things that had nothing to do with Batman had Batman in it. Like,
I was 2.5, so it's a bit fuzzy to me at that time.
Right.
I'm happy with the time period I grew up in, but one thing I wish I could have experienced that as it happened. But I did get the bat symbol in the back of my head when Returns came around. I remember that. Yeah, that's going cool. To our barber, and she was like, "I've got the Batman symbol," and I actually saw her a few years ago, and with my parents, and she even said, then she's like, "Do you remember?" And I said, "Stop right there." Yeah. I remember getting that bat symbol shaved in my head. I absolutely do, because I was constantly grabbing my mom's mirror and going to the bathroom, and be like, "Oh, I got the bat symbol."
You like mirror?
Yeah, mirror.
You broke it. Like, there goes another mirror in the Lauer home. All right. Yeah. So let's jump in. We were in the Gotham City. We were hanging out with Jack Napier as he became the Joker. He took out crime boss Grissom, And then he did a little dancing, shooting, and then last thing we have is Joker with the martini, sitting on the couch and
drinking it in such an entertaining way.
Oh
too.
yeah,
Did not mess up that makeup.
not mess up that makeup. Yeah, it was it. That's definitely what it had to have been. But at the same time, it looked it looked like he was just being silly. Like he drinks it, and then Alicia falls over, and that's where we're at. So we pick up here, opening. There is a gathering of all the crime families of Gotham City. They're meeting, wondering what the heck's going on. Where's Grissom? Ryan, take it away, man.
Oh, this is a great opening meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, and we can talk on different levels because this chapter is discussing a scene that just one scene, not even 4 minutes long. So we can come at it with different angles. And first off, I just love how it's shot by Burton. I love the setting. At this point, we're 40 minutes into Burton's Gotham and stuff, and the mood is awesome. Even in inside of sets and buildings and stuff like that. And you're here in this, in this high rise for Grissom's lair, and you got all the mob bosses and that whole opening of this dude. I think his name's Tony Rotelli. Where's Pete when we need him? The correct Italian pronunciation. But just the down the table as Jack's talking, and you start at one guy, and then as you come back to catch up to where Jack is, you just see all these dudes on each side and everything. And and he's like, I'm the acting president, and I say, starting with this anniversary festival, we run the city into the ground, and people are just all staring. And someone's like, why don't we hear this from Grissom? He's the most Italian of them all. I don't hear this from Grissom.
I wish his accent was a little more
leaned into it more.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like trying to be a little gravelly, but he needs to add a little but then we see this, and what's the guy say? He's like, "What's with that stupid grin or whatever?" Yeah. And this is great, Jack, in which we'll get to, but this new look to him of trying to sell us that he's But as a kid, I can guarantee it that I was completely blown away. Like, what happened to the Joker?
Yeah.
Guys, that's the Joker in disguise. He looks normal again.
It's such a cool. Okay, obviously, we don't see that until they have him kind of head down, and he lifts his face, and he has that. He does have that stupid grin, and it's such a cool. It's such a cool reveal and look, and it's just this is how crazy the Joker is. He feels like this is gonna pass.
Yeah,
I'll just put some flesh makeup on.
It's great in shadows, and I'm showing Justin too because
I'm looking at it too.
That's almost forget the purple suit, but as far as the hat and stuff like that, that's almost like Killing Joke framed when Barbara opens the door. And we know because when they did reprints of it, they used Burton's quote right on front and center that this was the Killing Joke was the first comic or graphic novel that he ever loved.
Yeah.
So it did play some kind of emphasis. I don't know because Burton's a visual guy. That's just what that makes me think of is
yeah. Did you know it's one of the only Batman comics he was able to read because he deals with dyslexia, and he was able to follow it. That's one of the reasons he really liked it.
I didn't.
He didn't really grow up on a lot of comic stuff, but he loved the Killing Joke because he was able to follow it. So
wow, look at that.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was reading Alan Moore. As a little boy, but
Alan Moore, jump aboard, man. People like the Killing Joke. It's okay to like it.
But I think a lot of that goes to how Brian Bolin, told the story too. You can follow that story.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's one of the reasons
I took us down that road. My bad.
A little tidbit there. No, this is chapter by
Life's
chapter. Whatever
been
comes
good to
up.
me.
Life's been good to me. So yeah. Again, we're just peppered with some really great Joker dialogue, and none of it feels ham-fisted at all. Just feels very appropriately wacky for this guy. He just says these things. Life's been good to me.
He does this thing when he gets up out of his chair too, and I think maybe it's catching what's about to happen to this Tony guy. But he gets up out of the chair, he almost does this weird jerk with his arm as he goes marching toward him, and he continues to talk. But we know also, so I said that shot specifically made me think Brian Bolin, but I think a large, and we know a lot of this extra stuff. Actually, I even texted you about it after your last chapter by chapter with Pete
Mhm.
of Marshall Rogers' Joker being a heavy influence here.
Lay down
Str-
some of that knowledge. Lay down some of
Strange
that knowledge.
Apparitions heavily influenced Batman 89, and Englehart has said, and I think you can totally see this because a lot of us do wonder why wasn't Grissom Rupert Thorne? Like that's perfect for it or something. Englehart alleges that, or he did say that he did come in and work on the live, like a script treatment or some, a story for Batman 89. And he did have, based on his Strange Apparitions, not like from page to screen exactly, but I mean, you'd have Rupert Thorne and you'd have Silver St. Cloud. And he said, because it was, probably because of money, they switched to Grissom and then they switched Silver St. Cloud to Vicky. You remove Vicky working for the paper, Kyle Miller, for all it doesn't really matter because he's created for this movie, so it could be any name. But for us comic fans,
Englehart
definitely could have been a Thorn.
He created Silver St. Cloud.
Yes,
and he created Thorn. So
he'd have been getting some money, but
they used Thorn in the animated series. I wonder if that's different.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know
either. It'd be great to talk to that guy one day, but he probably won't.
Yeah, we'll see.
I read it in a book, but that's just kind of like as far as what he says, and I think it does kind of track those two characters specifically. Yeah. And then of course the he and Marshall Rogers' Joker, I think you totally see Jack Nicholson in that, like just the vibe of him and the jokes and like the violence that he does, like fits as is the little, the silliness. Like it's a good balance of the two when you don't have like gritty, scary, like Heath Ledger Joker type violence with it. That's like pretty vicious. You get that 70s era Joker.
Yeah.
And that's just what I see with Nicholson.
Yeah. It's always tied to a playfulness that, well, like what we're going to see here. Like, we'll just shake hands and that'll be all. Like, that's all. And this guy is such an idiot. He's like, and that's all. Like you can't. At the moment, Joker's in there, they know him as Jack Napier. Everyone knows Napier's a little off, anyways, right? And so like you're just gonna like walk over and shake hands with this cat, all right? And so,
but I guess also this guy is an idiot. But remember, we're getting more at this point than all of them are. None of them know anything happened to Napier, especially when he covers himself up with the makeup too. It's like nothing happened to him. He shows up to that meeting full on Joker white and everything. They're going to be a little bit like, maybe that guy doesn't shake his hand because he's like, holy shit, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on here? But by covering that up, like this is their exposure now to Joker. Because as of now, the Doctor and Grissom and Alicia, I guess, are the only three that know what's really happened to Jack Napier.
Yeah.
But the handshake, it changed things.
This handshake is wild. Like, I obviously this is made in '89, so we start getting this. I don't even know what it would look like if someone was electrocuted. Would they start smoking like that? But I love the red and the animated like lightning bolts.
His skin's on fire.
Yeah. But Jack is. This is the stuff I love. This is why Nicholson's my favorite like cinematic Joker. Still, I don't think anyone, in my opinion, like again, and these are my proclivities, I lean a little more comic, has touched his performance. He is he's having fun, but man, he's the Joker and he's wild and he's dancing, and there'll be a hot one in the old town tonight. Like, what the heck, dude? Like, which is funny.
Go ahead.
Oh, Selena Kyle quotes that too.
Exactly. Yes.
Like, I don't know if that was intentional, but
I mean, it had to be. Right. You're a detective now. You don't believe in things as coincidence. Justin.
Oh, that's right.
There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. I wanted to do, before we even talked about this, of like the origin of that thing.
Oh yeah, I looked it up. It's just some old song.
Yeah, just some old song. And it's funny too, because on Wikipedia you look it up and it even says in popular culture, films and musicals. And I'm looking. Oh, okay, there we go. I overlooked it. I thought that all they did was reference that it was said in Returns, but it says it in the Joker sings the title line from the song in a scene where he uses his joy buzzer.
His joy buzzer
to electrocute the character Antoine Rotelli in the film Batman. His joy buzzer. NECA, get on that. Sell some joy buzzers.
Oh man, they should. I love. Like, I still have my prop gun. Oh no, I just need to get batteries so it will retract.
Nice.
That thing's.
I
So
kept
cool.
mine in the package.
You did? I still have the box.
Yeah.
So I can put it back in. I just.
But it looks good on display. Yeah.
That's a whole other thing. You can get a really nice one from DC Direct if you want, but the NECA one works for me. So, okay. So Antoine got a little hot under the collar, and then I love. Before I get to this next scene, what the heck is painted on the walls? Like as a kid, I just remember I remember watching it and my mom being very uncomfortable because you're like, is that lady nipples? What's going on in the background, like on the paintings?
I'm looking here now.
Have you ever noticed? It's just like it's a very gigantic mural. Looks like showgirls.
Oh,
it's just there's just some like, obviously we're watching this movie, but whatever is going on, but you catch the background things like, oh, it happens again later on when Joker's in Vicky's apartment. You're just like, what is painted on the walls?
Okay, well, in Vicky's apartment, I think there's a statue even.
Yeah, but like this thing right here is just like, oh, what the heck? It's like
I haven't looked
girls or something.
Now.
You've never noticed
on the
this?
big screen later. No, I'm totally engrossed in poor Antoine here.
Yeah, poor Antoine.
Getting hot under the collar.
Anyway,
in which I do remember as a kid though too, when his smoking skeleton that's green or blend of green and black plops down in the chair, and it's like, oh, yeah. And then I always thought as a kid, most of my memories with this are as a kid because you watched it like 200 times when I was as a kid. But when he pulls his hand back in the joy buzzer and he blows on it and opens up the door and just sends men in, and I'm like,
yeah,
how did he do that?
Yeah,
what an amazing button.
Okay, when everyone runs in, that's cool. They're just like, ah! Like huge power play. Like they're waiting. I don't know how Joker orchestrated that as well. Like he just
awesome lineup, diagonally perfectly set with each other, and then Justin, it might be the only time in this movie that my man Lawrence is not holding a boombox.
Oh, that's true.
He's behind Jack with a gun.
Yeah, Lawrence. Let's talk about missed opportunities.
Okay.
With this film.
Drop a beat for that.
Drop a beat.
Missed opportunities.
And maybe they just wouldn't sell. I don't know. I'm just thinking, man, how cool would it have been, like when Kenner took over from Toy Biz, when they got the license back to do these Batman figures. Like all we got was a Joker. We got two versions of Joker. We got a face-changing Joker and one called Knockout Joker. Dude, give us some goons. Like, how cool would a Lawrence figure have been? And you could have squeezed his arms and he dropped a radio on your head or something. Give us Lawrence, Bob, and then the guy at the end who
I was gonna say Joker only named 3 of his goons. So I mean, it's not like he listed, Mark, John, Joey, Donnie. I don't know all the names for New Kids on the Block.
I was gonna go like Donnie, Johnny, Joey, Dee, Marky. That's how.
There you go. But to where it's like, we can't do them all. It's like, no, you got 3, and I mean, he's specific. Lawrence is he's the reason that big scene in the middle of the movie happens because he blasts that boombox.
Yeah.
Bob is shown throughout, and the guy at the end he mentions. So yeah, I'm totally with you. And like,
I won't call him Lenny.
Todd McFarlane, get on it now. Like, you got a line. Drop some Lawrence love. I mean, they did it for Lego. Lego did it.
Well, that's what I'm bringing up. Like, your Lego nailed it. They gave us Lawrence. I love it. Like, and that's the only goons we've got. We've gotten a Lego Lawrence and a Bob the Goon figure who kicks very awkwardly from Toy Biz. Like, he
doesn't stop kicking.
It would have been cool, man. I don't know. Maybe the Batman figures don't sell. Like, Star Wars puts out a figure of a random like alien in a bar, and everyone buys it. Like, I can't get a Lawrence. I want a Lawrence bad. I want to be Lawrence for Halloween. Maybe I'll be Lawrence for Halloween.
Have you ever looked him up on so he doesn't get the respect. George Lane Cooper is the actor that played Lawrence. If you look him up on IMDb, what an amazing shot they use for him. They don't use it from Batman 89.
Okay. What's he do? What other things? Give us some Lawrence knowledge.
Some Lawrence knowledge. You heard it here, people.
Yeah. We can extrapolate because there's not much left in the scene, so we can talk a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't have a long history of acting. You know, he's like guard number 4, boxer number 2.
Lawrence.
The Lawrence universe, that'd have been awesome. Oh man. Bald man, uncredited in Death Wish 3. Like, I'm trying to find in the Bourne Identity, but like the 80s miniseries.
Oh.
Like gigantic man.
He's a gigantic man.
Yeah, so like sadly, and even after Batman, he didn't do that much, and then he passed away in 2000.
Oh,
yeah, but like
all right.
His image on IMDb is pretty great. I don't even want to ruin it for you. I just look him up, George Lane Cooper. When you guys get a moment, it's pretty awesome. But
he looks like a G.I. Joe. He looks like a dreadnought, like this dreadnought I used to have named Naha.
Yes, named Lawrence.
Lawrence. Oh man, that's.
But I mean, on IMDb, he's even credited as Goon.
Goon.
What?
He's Lawrence.
Lawrence.
All right, we gotta fix this. I'm gonna hit
right
up
in
IMDb. Anyways,
all right. So, anyways,
our goons run in, man. They're
yeah.
looking great in their like purple leather jackets. The mob now knows. Oh, the tide has changed now, big time. Especially our Italian guy, because he's not happy about this, and we'll find out later why. You know, but you can feel like he's trying to slip into the power vacuum, and Jack will take care of that later. But
I mean, a little bit you could almost see here too of what we experienced in the comics with this transition of, you know, you get this vibe that this guy's taking the mob stuff serious, and here comes this other guy is going to make a mockery of this. It's like, no, this is serious business.
You're crazy.
You're crazy. What I do love that they don't do now, because there is, and this is not a criticism. It's an observation, which is totally different. You won't see now goons coming in that apparently like that got overnight success of Joker wear.
Yeah.
You know, all the goons have these jackets with Joker on them, and he's got his own logo. They've got the Joker cars and stuff going out too. I do love that this movie just totally did lean into that though.
Yeah.
You know, of course we're not gonna see that in the Batman universe. You know, we obviously didn't see it in the Dark Knight trilogy, and that's completely fine. It's just different takes and stuff. But even coming back to this, it's like something that I just do love about this movie is leaning into that, but it's not in the, you know, in the 60s campy way.
Yeah, either. it's you know, and here's the thing, like maybe it's a few days, you know.
Sure.
Joker has a warehouse now. Grissom probably had his hand in some production. He can get some leather jackets printed, you know, some other stuff going. The thing that's cool about this, and I love that you brought that up, that it does toe the line between like you know, this was at the time, this was a darker take on Batman, right? Everyone was used to Adam West, but it leans into the comics, but leans into a darker take on what's going on. But it's still pretty accurate to, like, if you were a fan of comics, then like, oh, this is it. You're getting the gang. Like, Joker's crazy. Of course, he's going to recruit guys that are willing to like put the jacket on for the paycheck, right? You know,
Yeah.
He's gonna like, I'm gonna paint my own cars. They're gonna be green and purple. You know, like he's gonna do all that stuff. And so I'm along with the world, because it makes sense. You know, all you gotta do is make it make sense. You know, if let's say like if Nolan wanted to do it, it would have made sense. He had the gang members in the beginning with the clown masks. It made sense in that, you know, if in that kind of a world. So you kind of got the gang, even maybe not so much like this, you know. Even Leto's had a little bit of a gang when they were going through Arkham. You remember they had the masks on. One had a Batman mask. When they But like, I think you have to make sense to the world you're in, and this totally makes sense for the Burton world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
He wipes. Okay, so I forget the process of this.
Before we get there, though, because I love the line of, "Haven't you ever heard of the healing power of laughter?" I love that, dude. Again, it could be corny. It's such a great line that he says,
and that's when he does like the really,
yeah. He's out. There's like 4 great laughs in here.
Yeah,
like still has the best laugh too. I don't know. No one's beaten Jack's laugh. I think Jax is better than Mark Hamill's.
Okay.
Now what?
I listen. Pete even told me he wanted me to push back on something that you say here.
Oh, he did.
But
Come on, Pete. What's he gonna say?
But I don't know. Can I? Would I really? Do I need to put down Jack or Mark Hamill's laughs? It's like I don't know. They both worked. Like they were.
I'm not putting him down.
I love
what I
no. But I mean to be like, how dare you, Justin? You could not say.
Did he like guess that I was gonna say that? Did he guess that I was gonna say that?
No, he just said something. Anything. But
Boudin sauce.
no, I don't know. His laugh is great. At any moment, I can just like, yep, I can hear his laugh.
Yeah,
and I love his laugh. I think it's great.
And
because like you just said too, there's
to entertain himself.
4 in this one. Like the big one that he has in this scene, the elevating laugh he has after he sees himself in the mirror, you know, and then like I don't know, he's got like a variety of them all, and it's wonderful. Like this guy, this is like everybody in Hollywood had to be so jealous of Jack Nicholson with Batman.
Yeah.
Because of how much fun you can tell he's having, the material he has, and then the freaking payday at the end of it. Like,
yeah,
struck gold that nobody has ever struck before since. It just kind of seems.
I was reading that Jack, this was one of his favorite performances, and that he would even he would just play it at his house all the time.
Even if he didn't, after the fact, I'm sure he probably was like, no, never mind.
Yeah.
I love this. In which we saw in all the behind the scenes stuff too. Documentaries, he's wearing a pin when he's interviewed and stuff too. And it's like, well, yeah, the dude made all the money because of this. And it looked like this is just great. Cause this could have just been a pretty standard, like, you know, like, haha, giggle, like scene, but he just goes freaking bonkers with it and it works.
Yeah. All right. We get to this really wild part where now there's a little bit of a reveal. He's laughing, he's sweating, he's hot. He starts wiping off his brow. Now, as a kid, I was like, how did they do this? And so what I thought they did, because I remember my dad going, oh, he's just got makeup on the rag. That's what my dad told me. There was makeup on the rag. But his skin, I mean, it's skin toned makeup, but it doesn't look like there's something off about it. You can tell, like, it's skin tone, but there's definitely some work being done here. And so have you ever, I mean, I'm sure you have, Ryan. You've read how they
but I'm like second guessing. Was it makeup on makeup?
Yeah. So
he was wiping it off, right?
Yeah. So what they do is they did the regular makeup that they do for him. Right. And I don't know. Maybe they just blended some stuff in. Who knows? But they put a layer of something over that makeup, like an oil. And then they put a different kind of makeup on top of that. So literally, like, there's a makeup, kind of a layer of an oil like base, and the other makeup on top of it. So when he wipes, he's just wiping the top layer of makeup off.
Yeah. Okay.
Leaving them white there. And I don't know if they did the whole head or what, but they definitely did that space. But his whole face looks like it's got a cake on top of it. If you start, I mean, especially when in the higher definition like screens, you can see like, oh, okay, you can tell there's some type of
those good old VHS tapes. I think you could tell.
Yeah.
He definitely just looks different than he did at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
But it still works.
Yeah.
And I love that. And it blew my mind as a kid too.
Yeah. So he tells him to get out of there and think it over. and think it over.
And think it over.
I love it. I just want to tell people, like, you know, tell my kids when they got to do their chores, get out of here. Think it over.
Think it over.
He's laughing. All right.
I do. That's what I mean, of like yet another different like tone with his laugh that he does. Is like, brilliant.
What a great table too, by the way. I mean, that's almost a pass to salt over there, man.
It is.
You know,
you got to choose one of these for your dining room table. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like him and Bruce. They're nice table.
Does this one come with Antoine?
Yeah.
Because if so, then that might seal the deal. He just stays at the head of the table always.
Can you imagine the table, the goon table, or the mob meeting playset from Kenner, and it comes with
Lego.
A burnt Antoine, you know, with light up feature. So all right,
into the '89 world, Lego. Let's go. Come on.
this scene with Bob is
Mhm.
incredible. I love it.
Yeah.
And I love the mockery of Carl Grissom. You are number one. It's so good, dude.
And I mean, and Bob plays into it perfect too. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
a
Puts his
slight
glasses
turn,
on.
glasses on, and then off he goes.
What-
It's wonderful.
yeah,
And you've
what a fun
you've
scene.
mentioned it on here, haven't you? I've listened to each one, but you've mentioned that this is Nicholson's buddy.
Yeah.
Right?
What's his name? Tracy Walters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And that he got the Bob job because
they're
of
buddies.
Nicholson. He's like, this is my buddy.
The
Make it
Bob
happen.
job.
Like, what a friend.
Never get a Bob job, by the way.
Don't get a
You're
Bob
the
job.
barber, don't say, hey, give me the Bob job. Don't do that.
No,
They'll
look
slice
at that
your
hair.
face.
Yeah.
Slice
And
your
then
face.
also you're high kicking all the time.
You'll be high
It's
kicking.
unbelievable.
Yeah, but yeah, I wonder how he got. I wonder if he got the figure because of Nicholson. He's like, if you're gonna make figures, you're gonna have to make one of my good friends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm getting this fat payout. Give
Yeah.
him some toy money, okay?
That Nicholson Toy Biz Joker is not good, by the way. Does not look like Nicholson at all. Just
Yeah, see,
so you know.
I never got any. I mean, grant, because I was like that Christmas. I turned 3 in November of '89, so like I just didn't get Batman '89 stuff. It was Returns where I started to get all the goodies. So I didn't get any. I've never had one in my hands before, and I really want to just to see.
Oh, that one, yeah, it's not. You can probably find them. They're not hard to find. But I have a Kenner, I forget what it was called. I think it was called Jetpack Joker, or no, it was like helicopter, whatever, Fast Escape Joker, whatever. He came with a helicopter, but his face, put in water, it would turn flesh color. It was cool. And all it was is a superpowers body with a Jack Nicholson-ish head. So I think that's the closest they got to any Nicholson merchandise as far as like the action figures. Like even the face on the packaging wasn't Nicholson's face. It was like a illustration of his face, where it was Keaton's face on the Dark Knight packaging. But for the Joker figures, it was an illustration. So anywho, I keep getting on the toys.
Welcome to the Batman Toy Club.
Yay! Yeah, it's just so connected. It's like the merchandise. That's why I love Batman '89 merchandise. It's my favorite. I can't get all the things, but like, man, I just the things that really hit my heart is Batman '89.
It's the perfect time now to start like relaunching that stuff. Come on,
man.
Keaton's coming. Your boy Keaton's back, the GOAT.
That's right. All right. So he's given Bob his plans. It's a little more subdued, like follow Knox. Apparently he knows who Knox is, telling him to follow Knox, take some photos.
So this was where after Bob walks off that Jack does the but he does mumble something. Closed captioning doesn't even say it. I listened to it a ton of times with my earbuds in, and I can't decipher what he says, and he's almost like he has his mouth wide open, and he's like,
yeah, I think
he does say something I never could.
He's just kind of being goofy. I think it's just like a kind of a period to his gave Bob his orders, and now he's just back in his wacky. It's like when he's like wailing in a load of me, and he's like whoop, 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 whoop. Like all the he's just wacky, man. It's like
because you'd be able to guess if Bob was like, yes sir, I'll do the best that I can just for you, and then he walks off, and the joke be like, yeah, but it's like Bob didn't even say anything. So I don't know, it is something like, I wonder.
He's just crazy, dude.
He's
in his head. That's the bad wiring, the head full of bad wiring. So anyway, he's talking to Antoine, which is hilarious. I love that
as he does set in, because he does that little and it's like then he catches Antoine's body, and it's like totally goes into like a just zones right back into that, and then does a monologue.
They're not bad people. Think of her. No. All right. He's like, it's like he's making up his response. And so it was always really, he's all greasome now, which as a kid, I always thought I thought he said grissom. I thought he said grissom now, but he says greasome. So what he's taken from Antoine is like, you want me to kill him? He's like, well, okay. So he's just getting his permission from the crispy Antoine to kill them all. And it's
funny that you say that though, because I think when you do watch something so much as a kid, and I mean, that's always my problem. I have a history of it, movies and lyrics and songs mishearing, but because that's just how I sang it and heard it, quote unquote, as a kid. It wasn't until I really closed caption can do amazing things, but it is just like just see what's really said, and sometimes, whoa, it's like
Yeah. It
it's Dumb
changes
and
the whole
Dumber.
thing.
Samsonite, I was way off.
Well, it makes this scene a lot better when you're like, oh, he's not saying Grissom. Well, he's saying Greasem. Well, okay. It's like, so he's,
That makes a lot more sense now, actually.
yeah, right. And he's
Grease 'em
telling
now.
him,
Okay.
then he's all, you're a vicious bastard, Ratelli. And so like, it's like, you're a bad guy. It's like he's saying, okay, this guy Ratelli, he's so vicious. He's telling me to kill these mob guys off. And I never caught that until years ago, until I closed captioned it. I always thought he was saying you're a vicious bastard for telling it. I don't even know what that meant. For telling what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, who knows what he's saying? But because it doesn't really come off as Ratelli. You're a vicious bastard, Ratelli. But it could be because of the makeup and all this. I'm sure it impeded some of his pronunciations. But
you should go around all day sometime and just talk with your face just like Jackson.
You're a vicious bastard, Ratelli.
You're a vicious bastard. Hey kids, it's supper time.
Oh,
hey
man.
kids, go to bed. Dad.
But see this scene, my dad loved this scene.
Yeah.
He thought, my dad thought it was as hilarious as the Joker did, because the best part is when he like cinches up the tie and he like makes that crack. I'm glad you're dead.
But
and
then
he's
it's
like
almost
laughing.
But then it's kind of funny too, because as I froze it on here, and that skeleton, as it's like with him too, it's almost like that, almost like a really cheesy smile from the skeleton part. You'd think too, the way it's angled and looking up, and almost like, So it's I don't know, perfectly framed. Yeah, the cracking noise with it too.
It's
Jack
gruesome
laughing.
Too. It's gruesome.
It's Greasem, Justin. Greasem.
It's a pretty, like, when you look back at he just burned a man. It's a crispy skeleton right there,
But that's where, like, they say this movie is dark, and it's like, just because there's like, it's black, and shadowy. And the same thing with Returns is like, Burton just uses black as such a source with contrast, where it is like, okay, get past that aesthetic and everything, but there's such a difference in this right here with you just had basically a guy burned alive on screen, but the way that they showed that, and then the way Jack interacts with it and pulling the tie and all that. Now you look at Joker's violence in 2008, you look at Joker's violence in 2016, you look at the movie Joker and the violence in 2019, like in Barry Keoghan in the Batman universe, whenever his Joker comes out, I'm sure that's going to be raw and brutal kind of violence, where it's like, this approach is that towing the line of like, almost like, it's weird to say fun violence, but you get what I mean. It's not trying to make you cringe and be extremely realistic. It's trying to have a little bit of a sense of humor with it.
Yeah, but here's the I don't want to say it pushback, but here's the other way of thinking of it.
Do it. Push back, Peter.
Yeah, push. Sounds like Scooby. The pushback here is like the Joker is doing these terrible things, but we're laughing at him because he's being so like bananas about it, right? Like when he kills Grissom, like he just killed a man, but we're laughing because he's like, woo, he's shooting behind his head, because it's comical in his approach. Like he kills a man with a joy buzzer, right? Like everything he does has this, like, he's making murder like fun for him, for the viewer, for we're all wrapped up in the Joker's ways, because that's what he likes. He likes attention. The Joker is he's like, he needs the attention. That's why he does these things. He wants Batman's attention, and for a movie where he's getting all of our attention, that's why he's the best character in the movie, because he's so fun to watch. Even though he's doing these like terrible, heinous things, he's got us. We're like, you got me, Jack. You got me. And it's why this movie, again, this is why this movie works. I think it is dark. There's a lot of dark moments. Like all the Bruce stuff is really tinged in like his psyche, and the dealing with his parents' loss and stuff. And the Joker stuff is so like contrast to it that it's almost like a relief too. Oh yeah, Joker's back on the screen, I'm gonna laugh. But you're like, what are you laughing at? You're laughing at him killing people and murdering and like poisoning. You
peeled off a good like layer of the Joker Batman dynamic, and why that will always work, because of, you have a scary bat as a good guy. You have a smiley happy clown, which is a bad guy. The good guy is dark. The bad guy is bright. the good guy in this is serious and kind of morose, and the bad guy is chipper, happy music, bouncy, like
Yeah.
just my favorite word, juxtaposition of the
Yes.
two. And this
Yeah.
scene adds that too of like, okay, at the source, like, what's the point of this scene? Jack is now in charge of the mob,
Yeah.
and he kills a guy in front of everybody else and points gun at him. Okay, that's the scene. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, but then it's not that intense when you watch it. It is, like
Yeah.
you said, we kind of laugh about it and we have fun with it. And Jack Nicholson is having fun doing the scene and stuff too. And in the end, yes, he's doing bad things to people, and it's like, but he's also doing them to bad people. So also,
Yeah, you're like, yeah. But like, imagine if this was like a super like say this was a Nolan or like a Reeves take on like a scene like this. There's
Mhm.
no way you'd let your kids watch it. You're like, oh my gosh, he just burned this man alive. You know, it'd probably be a little
Yeah.
more like visceral too, just the way they with effects and how they do
take
it. But
Gamble
yeah,
in
yeah.
Dark Knight. I mean, we
Well-
don't see what does happen, but we get the point, and it does
Yeah, yeah.
feel a little
Ooh,
visceral, you know.
The point.
Yeah.
Well, that's where Nolan was really great at like not showing it, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I don't.
You got the impact.
You imagine worse, you know.
Which you knew that apparently he didn't die in that, right?
He
Did you read that at
I
Dark Knight at 10?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't
Justin.
I don't read those things.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I let you
Gamble. He
guys
was
know.
supposed to come back later in the scene
Oh,
or
well,
later in the movie.
you're like, oh, with a like a. He's like, hey,
Something messed up, but that's what
put
whoever
a
played
smile
him,
on my face.
the guy who played him, he even said too. He's like,
Son.
that's why I fall so weird, and why that scene to him the scene was kind of cut weird.
Well,
He's
Ryan,
like,
we have
because
to
I was
save
supposed
that.
to die there.
We gotta save that for Dark Knight chapter by chapter.
All right, coming in 2026.
Strike it from the books. Strike it from the books. And we got to get through Batman and Robin first, man.
That's right.
We gotta get.
Pete thinks that he and Micah might be the only ones doing that. Absolutely not. I'd love to go on Batman and Robin chapter by chapter.
I'll
It'd
go
be
on
a
a
blast.
We'll see.
Just
We'll
not
see.
the third act.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything else
yeah,
could
yeah,
be.
yeah.
It's fine.
All right.
All right.
So,
89. I
Batman
told you
89.
I'd take you off course.
No, it's fun.
It's
That's
gonna
what's fun
happen.
about these things. Like the best part of I think doing these chapter by chapters is pulling out some fun stuff, memories,
Yeah.
things that it kind of reminds you of, and then wherever else the bats take us. So
You, Garrett, and Pete need to do a toy section on Batman on film, because I missed the boat on pretty much all that stuff. And so it's fun whenever you guys bring up toys and talk about them and show them off and stuff.
yeah, well, one of the
too.
things that
Throw
I want to
Haas in there.
do is kind of touch upon some of the other little parts of this. So I want to pepper the line a little bit, add a couple special features. And so I'm going to do a show in a couple of weeks with a special
Sweet.
guest. So there'll be
Awesome.
a special guest.
Nice.
I'd love
cheese.
to do a toy one, and I'd love to do one on the Sunsoft Batman video game, which has nothing to do with this movie in the sense of the story. Like they're the cutscenes, but it's like it doesn't sound like it. But it's got one of the best like video game soundtracks of the 80s. I'll tell you that. So go look it up, friends. It's
I do my chores or have good grades on my report card, I could go to the Video Connection downtown and rent the Game Boy game of Batman and play it on my Game Boy. I earned it. Never beat it, but it was Batman. So
you're like, it's Batman jumping.
It's Batman. Yep, he's jumping. That's all I need.
Awesome. All right, Ryan, any last thoughts on this scene?
It's great.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
As just watching it now, I did see a zoomed out view of those wall paintings, but you know what? It is what it is.
Tata? All right.
If you're a rich mobster in Gotham, you paint weird things on your walls.
Yeah, it's just so weird. It doesn't look like the anatomy's right. That's the only thing that bugs me. I was like, what is
sizing's
going on?
off?
Something's weird. So, anyways, I love this scene. It's like the first, like you said, the first public showing of who the Joker is to others. It's just Jack having a great time, and that gives us, the viewer, a great time, no matter what he's doing, whether he's dancing, shooting, electrocuting mobsters, whatever. It's his first stake in the ground of like, all right, I'm in control, and he's having a great time, and I love it. Love this movie.
And this just like, this is yet another scene, and everything that's been every scene with, I'd argue, Joker, maybe not Jack Napier, but maybe the character himself. Of every scene he's in, you can pull a quote.
Yeah.
This movie might be the most quotable out of all Batman movies. I mean, us Bat Boys, and we talk all the time, we throw quotes of this movie out all the time. But I mean, Joker specifically, like he's got a line in every scene that we can just be like, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to, I don't know if I shared it or not. Maybe I did. I don't even remember because sometimes I missed a couple of these 89 shows. I'm like, but one of my favorite quotes.
Curses.
Sorry, guys, we're just going longer. We're just going longer.
Yeah,
But,
I keep doing.
with my kids
Uh-huh.
is like when like sometimes it's like in a playful way, like, hey, you guys got to clean up, and then I'm like, hey, I'm in charge here, and they'll go, not Carl Grissom. They follow it up. I go, I'm in charge here, and they're all not Carl Grissom.
That's how you know you did a good job.
I did a good job.
dad
They
job.
know Bat.
Yep.
They know
They're
Batman
quoting
89.
it. Awesome.
They love this film just like Dad. So, all right, Ryan, we're
Yes.
about to get out of the Batcave. We're going to head up into
All
the
right.
manor. Is there any place you want to stop off in the manor before we leave the premises? Alfred's
Uh,
got some cases to open, some salt to pick up and sweep.
I'd like to stop off in the library, grab
Oh.
Lawrence's boombox, and
That's right.
play my podcast, the Batman Book Club.
There you go.
Go to batmanonfilm.com. Bill's Generous posts all the episodes there. Listen to them wherever you listen to podcasts. Most recent episode, Talked Mad Love. Before that was Tim Sale's Blades, his early Batman work.
Blades.
Before
I love that book.
before that was the wrap up with Pete. Before that was an interview with Tom King.
Hey,
What?
my guy
What?
Tom King.
Yeah, so this year has been a pretty great start. Yeah, check that out if you can. Check out my reviews. Batman Beyond the White Knight just wrapped up. Those are posted on Batman on Film. And then I've been on a lot of the social hours lately with Bill, just talking.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a lot of fun these next few months as
Yeah.
we build up toward the Flash, because I think most of us all got really excited
Yeah.
seeing Keaton back.
I know a lot of Batman stuff coming up, man, to keep us
Yep.
busy. So yeah,
Thanks for
I
having
wanna,
me on, Justin. This
Oh,
was
of
fun.
course. And I just want to double recommend the Batman Book Club. It's such a fun show, and
God bless
it's
you.
and here's the thing: if you're listening to this episode, you're like, the latest episode is not Mad Love, because maybe you're listening to this, 2 years from now because you love Michael Keaton and you started
There you
watching Batman '89 again. check out all the. There's this. It's such an evergreen podcast. You can listen to number one and not feel like you're missing out on anything. So Ryan does a good job deep diving Batman books that are, some classics, some random ones. Maybe if Justin is on,
Justin's on, yeah.
you're gonna get one like, what the crud is that?
Yeah.
Why? But anyways,
Thrill killer.
yeah, some interesting picks. And so, anyways, go check out that show.
Thank you.
How can they follow you on Twitter, Ryan? Or
At the
otherwise?
Batman BC, Twitter and Instagram.
There you go.
Justin's been on the show a lot, as have other voices that are on Batman on Film, and we're trying to get everybody's schedule lined up so we can do a real fun one coming up in the future here in the next couple months. So check it out, please.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Justin M. Kowalski, and you can find me here on BOF doing the Batman '89 chapter by chapters, and wherever else you hear podcasts, I might show up. I was on a Straight Outta Gotham show a week or
Live
two
show.
ago. Oh, but it wasn't. It was the SOG presents the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah.
We're talking about all the new DC news and stuff, and then we talked about the Flash trailer, is what it was, right?
Yeah.
So much things going on. So, anyways, you can
A lot.
just follow me on Twitter, and I'll usually share where I'm at. But yeah, this is good. So, that being said, you can find this on Batman on Film. Authoritative, definitive, the original. Check us out.
You have been listening to Batman on Film Chapter by Chapter, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the cinematic adventures of the Dark Knight, scene by scene, chapter by chapter. Follow Jet on Twitter at Batman on Film. For BOF news only, follow at the Batman on Film on Twitter. To become a BOF patron, go to patreon.com/Batman on Film. To advertise on BOF, visit advertisecast.com/Batman on Film. For Jet and Team BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original. Batman on Film. Established in 1998.